take a stance in it, although, to be honest, after hearing such amazing speeches, I've decided to throw my hat in the ring. I am launching a write-in campaign for co-chair, so I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding, Gail. Renee would strangle me in my sleep. I'm here to talk about a wonderful comrade. You probably have heard of her, Julia Salazar. And I want to start with two incredible stories about Julia from last winter that really give me a sense into her character. And one is late November. It's a cold day, and we were both at the steps of City Hall. And I was there because the city council were being jerks about the armory, and I was there to protest them. And Julia was there with a CPR because the city council was being jerks about the Right to Know Act, and she was protesting them too. And we saw each other, and our eyes met, and it wasn't romantic, but we had a moment where I was looking at her thinking, man, developers in this city suck. And she was thinking, police in this city suck. And we were looking at each other thinking, capitalism sucks. However, if you're fighting for this and I'm fighting for this other thing, together we can take it down, and that's what it means to be in a multi-tendency organization. So funnily enough, that was not the moment for Julia. So flash forward to about 3 weeks later, we're at the Reds Need Green party, and Julia finds me in the crowd to apologize. And she comes up to me and she says, Jabari, I'm so sorry about a few weeks ago when you were all protesting the armory and I was doing the Right to Know Act. And I was like, what? And she goes, yeah, you were all fighting for the armory and I was fighting for something else. And I was like, Julia, that wasn't a thing. And she goes, it may not have been a thing for you, but it was a thing for me. And I learned something in that moment about her. Because imagine having a heart so big that you get disappointed that you can't be in two places at once. Imagine having a dream for democratic socialism that is so wide that you get angry with yourself that you can't fight for every single thing at every single moment. And the thing is, I looked at Julia's platform and I looked at her packet and I see somebody who's fighting for everything. I see somebody who is fighting for housing and police reform and the environment and healthcare and women's rights and immigrants and an economy that works for all of us. Julia, you may have been disappointed that you couldn't be in two places at once that day. I will be disappointed if I don't knock on at least 1,000 doors for you this summer. Julia, I believe in you. I believe that you will win, and I believe that we will win. So let's do this, DSA.
Thank you, fellow members of NYC-DSA, for inviting me here to speak to you today. And thank you as well to the Convention Planning Committee for all of the hard work that you put in to organizing this convention. And thank you all for considering endorsing me as a candidate for State Senate. I know many of you from marching on picket lines together, from canvassing with you for universal health care across New York State, for advocating for the Right to Know Act with you, and I look forward to meeting and fighting alongside those of you who I haven't yet met. I can say unequivocally that I wouldn't be here running for office if it weren't for my experience in New York City DSA. My comrades in this chapter have offered me support and encouragement, have demonstrated true leadership and solidarity. The work we're doing in this city has given me hope that together we can build a better society from the ground up. Like so many of us, I've experienced the harmful effects of a system designed to favor the few at the cost of the many. I'm the daughter of a Colombian immigrant. I was raised by a single mother who worked relentlessly so that my brother and I could have opportunities that she never had. I began bagging groceries at a local grocery store when I was 14 years old and worked my way through high school in the service industry as a line cook and a waitress. I moved to New York for school and had to support myself through as a domestic worker and a caregiver. I led my neighbors in a battle against our abusive landlord and won a victory yet still had to move out due to bad housing policies that hurt tenants. I know how the deck is stacked against all of us who aren't in the owning class. As a woman of color and a Latina, I also know that what it's like to be told that this society doesn't want you here. There's so much power concentrated in the hands of so few, and those few will do everything they can to make sure that we have no agency over our own lives. But in this convention today, we've been practicing a radical form of democracy, deciding the future path of our organization together. That's powerful. And we have that same power to affect change in our lives outside of DSA spaces as well. We should have that power in our workplaces instead of the boss wielding all of the power. We should have that autonomy in our homes instead of developers and the politicians who collude with them, making choices that price us out of our own neighborhoods. There are some on the left who in this national political moment will say that we can only make minimal demands, that we need to compromise our values and our vision in order to be effective. But as socialists, we don't buy that. We don't buy that because we don't operate with a vision of scarcity. We operate with a vision of abundance. We know that when people's rights are under attack, we need to be making maximalist demands. That's why I support universal rent control. That's why I not only want to keep ICE out of our courts and out of our state, but I want to see ICE abolished. That's why I support ending cash bail and shutting down Rikers. That's why I support free college for all, making CUNY and SUNY tuition free. That's why I support the right for anyone to have an abortion for free, on demand, without apology. It's why I support building worker cooperatives and unions that will be so powerful that the bosses will fear our strength. It's why I support Medicare for all. And it's why I am a democratic socialist. Together, we can make these policies and so much more a reality. A better world is possible, and together we can build it. Together, I believe that we will win. Thank you.